Teachers' exhaustion stems from administrative machine rather than the hours spent in front of a classroom.
It is the labor of rewriting a single reading passage into 3 different levels, grading essays at 9 p.m., and drafting the same careful parent email for the 5th time this week. Generic chatbots promise to fix this, but if you have ever stared at an empty prompt box wondering what to ask, the technology often feels like a second part-time job. We are evaluating a specific 7-tool stack built entirely for educators to see if these tools can realistically pull back 10 hours of your week. The workflow follows one rule: AI drafts, you decide. This is about eliminating the friction of the blank page while keeping judgment and connection in your hands. To evaluate these tools, we plot the effort required for setup against the actual hours handed back to you. In the low-effort, high-return quarter is MagicSchool AI, an all-rounder for lesson planning and rubrics that can add 3 to 4 hours back to your week. The setup is minimal because you don't need to engineer complex prompts. You fill out structured forms for your grade, standard, and objective to build the lesson skeleton. The trade-off is platform dependence. If their free tier limits change, your workflow is vulnerable, and every output still requires a manual review. Then there is the bottleneck of differentiation, adjusting one text for multiple reading levels. For that, we use Diffit. You paste a link or topic, select a target lexile or grade level, and reclaim 1 to 2 hours with very little technical friction. In about 90 seconds, you have a leveled reading passage, a vocabulary list, and a summary ready for the classroom. However, you must verify the AI-generated comprehension questions for accuracy and nuance before you hit print. Outsourcing the initial drafting of these materials yields an immediate return on your time and effectively removes the blank page problem from your Sunday prep. The second major administrative burden is the grading stack. To handle written feedback, we look at Brisk Teaching. This lives as a Chrome extension right inside Google Docs, meaning you don't switch tabs or apps. It banks you another 1 to 2 hours of time. It auto-drafts rubric-aligned comments in the margin, though it requires strict data privacy discipline since it reads live student work. For high-volume marking, like math problem sets or science exams, we bring in Gradescope. This requires more setup effort because you have to scan physical tests and build a digital rubric up front. That investment pulls 2 to 3 hours off your total marking time. It groups identical student answers together, allowing you to grade one response for the entire group and cut total marking time by up to 70%. The initial learning curve is steeper than other tools, and it offers no help for subjective or creative writing. Despite the setup cost, eliminating the heaviest emotional dread of the week offers the highest psychological return of the entire stack. The final category of overhead is generating visual materials and managing ad hoc administrative communication. For interactive slides, worksheets, and posters, we use Curipod and Canva Magic Studio. As detailed in the reference cards for Tool 5 and Tool 7, a short description is all these platforms need to instantly lay out full live polling decks and visual materials. You bypass the frustration of manual formatting, but you must still invest time in customization to avoid producing cookie-cutter materials. For tasks the specialist tools miss, like subplans or difficult parent emails, ChatGPT and Claude serve as the catch-all. To make this effective, use pre-written, structured prompts like those in the provided library, and swap in your specific details. This requires the highest level of manual editing to ensure the final draft sounds like a professional educator rather than an algorithm. When you pair each tool with its specific problem, the full stack covers nearly every major category of teacher overhead. Looking at this overlap matrix, you can see where these tools perform redundant tasks. Because of that, 10 hours is a realistic ceiling for the stack, rather than a guaranteed baseline. Trying to adopt all 7 tools simultaneously will likely create more work than it saves. Instead, identify the single task that steals the most of your weekend. Prove the return on that one tool, and then add the next. You must keep identifiable student data entirely out of general AI tools. Use initials only for emails. Lean on education-specific platforms built for school privacy, and verify your district's FERPA policies before you start. To begin, you can use the prompt library provided below to execute the administrative tasks immediately. Reclaiming 10 hours of your week changes more than your schedule, because it returns the mental headspace and energy you need to actually connect with your students on a Monday morning.